Numbers chapter 11, New King James Version. The people complained. Now, when the people complained, it displeased the Lord. The Lord heard it, and his anger was aroused, so the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed some of the outskirts of the camp. The people cried out to Moses, and when Moses prayed to the Lord, the fire was quenched. So he called the name of that place Taberah, because of the fire of the Lord had burned among them. Now the mixed multitudes who were among them yielded in intense cravings. So the children of Israel also wept again, and said, Who will give us meat to eat? We remember the fish which we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, the garlic, but now our whole being is dried up. There is nothing at all except the manna before our eyes. Now the manna was like the coriander seed, and its color like the color of bdellium. The people went about and gathered it, ground it on millstone, and beat it into the mortar, cooked it in pans, and made cakes of it. And it was like the taste of pastry prepared with oil. And then the dew fell onto the camp into the night, and the manna fell onto it. Then Moses heard the people weeping throughout the families, everyone at the door of his tent. And the anger of the Lord was greatly aroused, and Moses also displeased. So Moses said to the Lord, Why have you afflicted your servant, and why have I not found favor in your sight, that you have laid a burden of all these people upon me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I beget them, that you should say to me, Carry them in your bosom as a guardian carries a nursing child to the land which I have sworn to their fathers? Where am I to get meat to give to all these people? For they weep all over me, saying, Give us meat to eat, that we may eat. I am not able to bear these peoples alone, because of the burden is too heavy for me. If you treat me like this, please kill me here and now. If I have found favor in your sight, and do not let me see my wretchedness. The 70 elders. So the Lord said to Moses, Gather to me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people, and the officers of them. Bring them to the tabernacle of meeting, that they may stand there with you. Then I will come down and talk with you there, and I will take the spirit that is upon you, and you will put the same upon them, and they shall bear the burden of the people with you, that you may not bear it yourself alone. Then you shall say to the people, Consecrate yourself for tomorrow, and you shall eat meat. For you have wept in the hearing of the Lord, saying, Why will give us meat to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you meat, and you shall eat. You shall eat not 1 day, not 2 days, not 5 days, not 10 days, not 20 days, but a whole month, until it comes out of your nostrils and becomes loathsome to you, because you have despised the Lord who is among you, and you have wept before him, saying, Why did you ever come out of Egypt? And Moses said, The people whom I am among are 600,000 men on foot, yet you have said, I will give them meat, that they may eat for a whole month. Shall flocks and herds be slaughtered for them, to provide enough for them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them, to provide enough for them? And the Lord said to Moses, Has the Lord's arm been shortened? Now you shall see whether that I say will happen to you or not. So Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and he gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people, and placed them around the tabernacle. Then the Lord came down to the cloud and spoke to him, and took of the Spirit that was upon him, and placed the same upon the 70 elders. And it had happened when the Spirit rested upon them, that they prophesied, although they never did so again. But 2 men had remained in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the other was Mildad, and the Spirit rested upon them. Now they were among those listed, but who had not gone into the tabernacle yet the prophesied in the camp. And a young man ran and told Moses, and said, Eldad and Mildad are prophesying in the camp. So Joshua the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, came. One of the chosen men answered and said, Moses, my Lord, forbid them. Then Moses said to him, Are you zealous for this sake, O that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his Spirit upon them? And Moses returned to the camp, and he and the elders of Israel. The Lord sends quail. Now a wind went out from the Lord, and it brought quail from the sea, and left them fluttering near to the camp, about a day's journey unto the side, and about a day's journey unto the other side, and all around the camp, and about 2 cubits above the surface of the ground. And the people stayed up all day and all night, and all the next day, and gathered the quail. He who gathered least gathered 10 horns, and they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. But while the meat was still between their teeth, before it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was aroused against the people and the flock. And the Lord struck the people with a very great plague, so that he called the name of that place Kibroth Hattaavah, because they buried the people who had yielded the craving. For Kibroth Hattaavah, the people moved to Hazeroth and camped at Hazeroth. Chapter 12. Dissension of Aaron and Miriam. Then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman, it's Ethiopian woman, whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. So they said, the Lord indeed spoke only through Moses, as he not spoken through us all, and the Lord heard it. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than all the men who were on the face of the earth. Suddenly the Lord said to Moses, Arise, Aaron and Miriam, come out, you 3, to the tabernacle of meeting. So that the 3 came out. Then the Lord came down into the pillar of the cloud, and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam. And they both went forward. Then he said, Hear now my words. If there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, make myself known to him. In a vision I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moses. He is faithful in my house. I speak with him face to face, even plainly, and not in the dark, saying, and he sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? So the anger of the Lord was aroused against them, and he departed, and then the cloud departed from above the tabernacle. Suddenly Miriam became leprous, as white as snow. Then Aaron turned towards Miriam, and there she was, a leopard. So Aaron said to Moses, Oh, my Lord, please do not lay this sin on us, in which we have done foolishly, and in which we have sinned. Please do not let her be one dead, whose flesh is half consumed when he becomes out of his mother's womb. So Moses cried out to the Lord, saying, Please hear her, O God, I pray. Then the Lord said to Moses, If her father had put spit in her face, would she not be shamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and afterwards she may be received again. So Miriam was shut out of the camp for 7 days, and the people did not journey till Miriam was brought in again. And afterwards the camp moved from Hazareth and camped in the wilderness of Pardian. Paran. Chapter 13. Spies sent into Canaan. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel, from which tribe of their fathers you shall send a man, every one of the leaders among them. So Moses sent them from the wilderness of Paran, Paran, according to the command of the Lord, and all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel, whom now these were their names: from the tribe of Reuben, Shammua, Shammua, the son of Zechariah, Zaccur; from the tribe of Simeon, Simeon, Shaphat, Shaphat, the son of Hori, Hori; from the tribe of Judah, Judah; Caleb, Caleb, the son of Jephuneh, Jephuneh; from the tribe of Issachar, Gal, the son of Joshua; from the tribe of Ephraim, Hosea, Hoshea, the son of Nun, Nun; from the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, Palti, the son of Raphu, Raphu; from the tribe of Zebulun, Zebulun; Gaddiel, Gaddiel, the son of Sodi, Sodi; from the tribe of Joshua, that is, from the tribe of Manasseh, Gadiah, the son of Eshu; from the tribe of Dan, Emmanuel, the son of Gamel; from the tribe of Asher, Sethur, the son of Michael; from the tribe of Natal, Nahabi, Nahbi, the son of Vophsi, Vophsi; from the tribe of Gad, Jemuel, Jeuel, the son of Machi, Machi. These are the names of the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Hosanna, the son of Nun, Joshua. Then Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them, Go up this way into the south, and go up to the mountains, and see what the land is like, whether the people who dwell into it are strong or weak, few and many, whether the land they dwell is good or bad, whether the cities they inherit are like camps of strongholds, whether the land is rich or poor, and whether they are forests there or not. Be of good courage and bring some of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the season of the first ripe grape. So they went up and spread out the land from the wilderness of Zin and as far as Reuben, near the entrance of Hemrith. And they went up through the south and came to Horah, Heboroh, Ammon, Shahai, Sheshai, and Tabmel. The descendants of Anak were there. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. Then they came into the valley of Eshcol, Eschcol. The three cut down the branches, which one cluster of grapes. They carried it between two of them on a pole. They also brought some of the pomegranates and figs. The place was called the Valley of Eshcol, Eschcol, because of the clusters which the men of Israel cut down there. And they returned from the spying out the land after the 40 days. Now they departed and came back to Moses and Aaron and all of the congregation of the children of Israel into the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh, Kadesh. They brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. Then they told him and said, "We went into the land where you sent us. It is truly flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit. Nevertheless, the people who dwell into the land are strong, and the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the descendants of Antioch there, the Amorites, dwelling into the land of the south of the Hittites, and the Jebusites and the Amorites, dwelling into the mountain, and the Canaanites, dwelling into the sea also, along the bank of the Jordan." Then Caleb, Caleb, quieted the people before Moses and said, "Let us go up at once and take possession, for we are also above to overcome it." But the men who had gone down with him said, "We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we, and they give the children of Israel a bad report of the land which they had spitted out, saying, 'The land through which we have gone as spice into a land that devours its inhabitants. And all the people whom we saw into it are men of great stature. There we saw the giants, the descendants of Anak, come from the giants, and we were like grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight." Chapter 14. Israel refuses to enter Canaan. So all the congregation left up their voice and cried, and the people wept at night. And all the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron and the whole congregation, and to them, "If only we had died into the land of Egypt, or if only we had died in the wilderness. Why has the Lord brought us all this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should become victims? Would it not be better for us to return to Egypt?" So that they said to one another, "Let us select a leader and return to Egypt." Then Moses and Aaron fell onto their faces before all of the assembly for the consecration of the children of Israel. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spit out the land towards their clothes, and they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, "The land was passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into the land and give us a land which flows with milk and honey only." Do not rebel against the Lord for fear of the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their protection has departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Do not fear them. And all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Now the glory of the Lord appeared to the tabernacle of the meeting before the children of Israel. Moses intercedes for the people. Then the Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people reject me? And now how long will these people And the Lord said to Moses, how long will these people reject me? And how long will they not believe me with all the signs which I have prophesied among them? And I will strike them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make of you a nation greater than, mightier than they." And Moses said to the Lord, "Then the Egyptians will hear it, for by your might you brought these people up from among them, and they will dwell into the inhabitants of the land. They have heard that you, the Lord, are among these people, that you, Lord, are seen face to face, and your cloud stands above them, and you go before them in a pillar of clouds by day and by a pillar of fire by night. Now, if you kill these people as one man, then the nation which have heard of your fame will speak, saying, because of the Lord was not able to bring the people of the land which he swore to bring them before, swore to give them, therefore he killed them into the wilderness. And now I pray, let the power of the Lord be great, just as you have spoken, saying, the Lord is long-suffering and abundant in mercy, forgiving iniquities and transgression, but he by no means clears the guilty, visiting the iniquities of the fathers of the children of the third and fourth generations. Pardon the iniquities of the people, I pray, accordingly to the greatness of your mercy, just as you have forgiven these people from Egypt, even until now." Then the people said, "I have pardoned according to your word, but truly as I live, all the earth shall be fulfilled with the glory of the Lord, because of all these men who have seen the glory and the sight which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have put me to the test now these 10 times, and have not heeded my voice. They certainly shall not see the land of which I swore to their fathers, nor shall any of these who reject me see it. But my servant Caleb, Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him and has followed me fully, I will bring into the land where he went, and he descendants shall inherit it. Now the Amorites and the Canaanites dwell in the valley of Tomorrow. Turn and move out into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. The death sentence of rebel on the rebels." And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "How long shall I bear this evil congregation who complains against me? I have heard the complaints which the children of Israel made against me, saying to them, as I live, say the Lord, just as you have spoken in my hearing, so I will do to you. The carcasses of you who have complained against me shall fall into the wilderness of all of you who were numbered according to your entire number, from 20 years old and above, except the Caleb, the son of Joseph, Joshua and the son of Nun. You shall by no means enter into the land which I swore I would make you dwell in, but your little ones whom you said would be victims, I will bring them in, and they shall know the land which you have despised. But as for you, your carcasses shall fall into the wilderness, and your sons shall be shepherds, sheep shearers in the wilderness 40 years, and bear the burden of the infidelity until your carcasses are consumed into the wilderness, according to the number of the days in which you spit out the land. 40 days for each day you shall bear your iniquity 1 year, namely 40 years, and you shall know my rejection. I, the Lord, have spoken this, and I will surely do so to all this evil congregation who are gathered together against me in the wilderness. They shall be consumed, and there they shall die. Now the men whom Moses sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation complain against him by bringing a bad report to the land. Those very men who brought the evil report about the land died by the plague. Before the Lord. But Joshua the son of Nun and Caleb the son of Joshua, or Josiah, remained alive, the men who went to spy out the land. A futile invasion attempt. Then Moses told these words to the children of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they rose early into the morning and went up into the top of the mountain, saying, Here we are, and we will go up to the place which the Lord had promised for we had sinned. And Moses said, Now why did you transgress the command of the Lord? For this will not succeed. Do not go up, lest you be defiled by your enemies, for the Lord is not among you, for the Ammonites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword. Because you have turned away from the Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up to the mountaintop. Nevertheless, neither the ark of the covenant of the Lord nor Moses departed from the camp. Then the Amorites and the Canaanites who dwelt in the mountain came down and attacked them and drove them back as far as the Hormon. Chapter 15. Law of the grain and drink offering. Chapter 15. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, why have you come into the land you are to inhabit, which I am given to you? And you have made an offering by fire to the Lord, and a burnt offering, or sacrifice to fulfill a vow, or as a free will offering or in your appointed feast, to make a sweet aroma of the Lord. For the herb or the flock, then he who presented his offering to the Lord shall bring a grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of hin of oil, and 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering. You shall prepare with the burnt offering or a sacrifice, for which lamb or a ram you shall prepare as a grain offering, 2/10 of a tenth of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/10 of a hin of oil. And as a drink offering you shall offer 1/3 of a hin of wine as a sweet aroma to the Lord. And then you shall prepare a young bull as a burnt offering, or as a sacrifice to fulfill a vow, or as a peace offering to the Lord. Then you shall be offered with the young bull a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/2 a hin of oil. And you shall bring as the drink offering 1/2 of hin of wine as an offering made by fire, a sweet aroma to the Lord. Thus it shall be done for each young bull, for each ram, or for each lamb or young goat, according to the number that you prepare. So you shall do with everyone according to their number. All who are native born shall do these things in this manner, in presenting an offering made by fire, a sweet aroma to the Lord. And if a stranger dwells with you, or whoever is among you throughout our generation, and would present an offering made by fire, a sweet aroma to the Lord, just as you do, so shall he do. One ordinance shall be for you of the assembly, and for the stranger who dwells with you, an ordinance forever throughout your generation. As you are, so shall the stranger be before the Lord. One law and one custom shall be for you and for all the strangers who dwell with you. Again, the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and saying to them, When you have come into the land to which I bring to you, then it will be when you set of the bread of the land, that you shall offer up a heave offering to the Lord. You shall offer up a cake of the first of your ground meal as a heave offering to the threshing floor. So shall your offering it up of the first of your ground meal. You shall give to the Lord a heave offering throughout your generation. Law concerning unintentional sin. If you sin unintentionally and do not observe all these commandments which the Lord has spoken to Moses, all that the Lord had commanded you by the head of Moses, from the day of the Lord gave commandments and ordinance throughout your generation, then it will be, if it is unintentional, commanded without the knowledge of the congregation, that the whole congregation shall offer one young bull as a burnt offering, as a sweet aroma to the Lord, with its grain offering and its drink offering according to the ordinance, and one kid of a goat as a sin offering, so that the priest shall make an atonement for the whole congregation of the children of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them, for it has unintentional. They shall bring their offering, an offering made by fire to the Lord, and their sin offering before the Lord, for their unintended sin. It shall be forgiven the whole congregation of the children of Israel, and the stranger who dwells among them because of all the people who did unintentionally. And if a person sins unintentionally, then he shall bring a female goat in its first year as a sin offering. So the first shall make atonement for the person who sinned unintentionally when he sins unintentionally before the Lord, to make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven to him, and you shall have one law for him who sins unintentionally, for him who is native born among the children of Israel, and for the stranger who dwells among them. The law concerning presumptuous sin. But the person who does anything presumptuously, whether he is native born or a stranger, that one brings reproach on the Lord, and he shall be cut off from among the people, because he has despised the word of the Lord and has broken his commandment. That person shall be completely cut off. His guilt shall be upon him, potentially for violating the Sabbath. Now, while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Sabbath day, and those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron, and to all the congregations they put him under, guarded, because it had not been explained what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, the man must surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones outside of the camp. So as the Lord commanded Moses, and all the congregation brought him outside of the camp and stoned him with stones, and he died. Tassels of garments. Again the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel, tell them to make tassels of corners of their garments throughout their generation, and to put a blue thread in the tassels of the corners. And you shall have the tassel, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of the Lord and do them, and that you may not follow the harlotry of which your own heart and your own eyes are inclined, and that you may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy, for your God, and I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God, and I am the Lord your God. Rebelling against Moses and Aaron. Chapter 16. Now Korah, the son of Ezra, Izhar, the son of Korath, Kohath, the son of Levi, with Danan, Dathan, and Abiram, the son of Ethiam, Eliaban, and on the son of Pelheth, Peleth, the son of Reuben, Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with some of the children of Israel, 250 leaders of the congregation, representatives of the congregation, men of renown. They gathered together against Moses and Aaron, and said to them, you take too much upon yourselves, for all of the congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the assembly of the Lord? So then Moses heard it. He fell onto his face, and he spoke to Korah and all of his company, saying, tomorrow morning the Lord will show who is his who is wait, who the Lord will show who is his and who is holy, and will cause him to become near to him. That one whom he chose will chose to come near to him. Does this take censers, Korah, and all of your company? But fire in them, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord chose is the Holy One. You talk too much upon yourselves. You take too much upon yourselves, your sons of Levi. Then Moses said to Korah, Hear now, you sons of Levi, it is a small thing to you that the Lord of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the work of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation of serve them, and that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brethren, the sons of Levi with you, and all of you seeking the priesthood also. Therefore you and all of your company are gathered together against the Lord, and that is Aaron, that you complain against him. And Moses sent to all Dathan and Abraham, the son of Eliab, Eliab. But they said, We will not come up. It is a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us into the wilderness, that you should keep acting like a prince over us. Moreover, you have not brought us into the land flowing with milk and honey, nor give us inheritance or fields and vineyards. Will you put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. Then Moses was very angry and said to the Lord, Do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I burnt one of them. And Moses said to Korah, Tomorrow, you and all of your company be present before the Lord, you and they, as well as Aaron. Let each take his censer and put incense into it, and each of you bring his censer before the Lord, 250 censers, both you and Aaron, each with his censer. So every man took his censer, put 5 in it, laid incense onto it, and stood at the door of the tabernacle of meeting with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all of the congregation against them at the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation, and the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, Separate yourselves from among these congregations, that I may consume them in a moment. Then the Lord fell onto their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirit of all the flesh, shall one man sin, and you be angry with all of the congregation? So the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the congregation, saying, Get away from the tent of Korah, Dathan, and Abraham. Then Moses arose and went into the Dathan, and Abraham and the elders of Israel followed him, and he spoke to them. He spoke to the congregation, saying, Depart now from the tent of these wicked men. Touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all of their sin. So they got away from around the tent of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, and Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of the tent with their wives, their sons, and their little children. And Moses said, By this you shall know that the Lord had sent me to do all these works. for I have not done them of my own will. If these men die naturally, like all men, or if they are visited by the common fate of all the men, then the Lord had not said to me. But if the Lord had creates a new thing, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all the belongings of them, and they go down alive into the pit, then you will understand that these men have rejected the Lord. Now it had come to pass, as he had finished speaking all these words, that the ground split apart under them, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households, and all of the men with Korah, with all their goods. So they and all those who with them went down alive into the pit. The earth closed over them, and they perished from among the assembly. Then all of Israel who were around them fled at their cities. Then all of Israel who were around them fled at their cry, for they said, "Lest the earth swallow us up also." And the fire came out from the Lord and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Tell Eleazar the son of Aaron, the priest, to pick up the censer out of the blaze, from there are holy. For they are holy, and Sacer, Scatter. The fire came distant away. The censers of these men who sinned against their own souls, let them be made into hammered plates, as a covering from the altar, because they presented them before the Lord. Therefore they are holy, and they shall be a sign unto the children of Israel. So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers, which those who were burned up had presented, and they were hammered up as a covering onto the altar, to be a memorial to the children of Israel, that no outsider who is not a descendant of Aaron should come near to and offer incense before the Lord, that he might not become like Korah and his companies, just as the Lord had said to him through Moses. The complaint of the people. On the next day, all the congregation of the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You have killed the people of the Lord." Now it had happened, when the congregation had gathered against Moses and Aaron, that they had turned towards the tabernacle of meeting, and suddenly the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared then. Moses and all of Aaron had come before the tabernacle of meeting, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Get away from among these congregations, that I may consume them into a moment." And they fell onto their faces. So Moses said to Aaron, "Take a censer and put a fire into it from the altar. Put incense onto it, and take it quietly to the congregation and make atonement for them. For wrath has gone out from the Lord. The plague has begun. Then Aaron took it as Moses commanded and ran into the midst of the assembly, and already the plague had begun among the people. So he had put the incense and the made atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, so that the plague was stopped. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700, because those who died in Korah incident, incident. So Aaron returned to Moses at the door of the tabernacle of meeting, for the plague had stopped. Chapter 17. The budding of Aaron's rod. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and get from them a rod from each father's house, all their leaders according to their father's house, 20 rods. Write each man's name onto his rod, and you shall write Aaron's name onto the rod of Levi. For there shall be one rod for the head of each father's house. Then you shall place them in the tabernacle of meeting before the testimony, where I meet with you. And it shall be that the rod of men whom I chose with blossom. Thus I will ride myself onto the complaint of the children of Israel, which they make against you. So Moses spoke to the children of Israel, and each of their leaders gave him a rod, a piece, A-P-I-E-C-E, for each leader according to their father's house, 20 rods, and the rod of Aaron as among their rods. And Moses placed the rods before the Lord in the tabernacle of witness. Now it had come to pass on the next day that Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron of the house of Levi had sprouted, and had put from buds, had produced blossoms, and yield ripe almonds. Then Moses brought out all the rods from before the Lord to all of the children of Israel, and they looked at each man's and took his rod. And the Lord said to Moses, Bring Aaron's rod back before the testimony, to be kept as a sign against the rebellions, that you may put their complaints away for me, lest they die. Thus did Moses, just as the Lord had commanded him. So he did. So the children of Israel spoke to Moses, saying, Surely we die, we perish, we all perish. Whoever even comes near to the tabernacle of the Lord must die. Shall we all utterly die? Chapter 18. Duties of the priests of the Levites. Then the Lord said to Aaron, You and your sons and all your father's house with you shall bear the iniquities related to the sanctuary, and you and all your sons with you shall bear the iniquities as associated with your priesthood, also bringing with you your brethren of the tabernacle of Levi, the tribe of your fathers, that they may be joined with you and serve you while you and your sons are with you before the tabernacle of witness. They shall attend to your needs and all of the needs of the tabernacle, but they shall not come near the articles of the sanctuary and the altars, lest they die. They and you also, they shall be joined with you and attend to the needs of the tabernacle of meeting, for all the work of the tabernacle. But an outside shall not come near to you, and you shall attend to the duties of the sanctuary and the duties of the altar, that there may be no more wrath unto the children of Israel. Behold, I myself have taken your brethren, the Levi, from among the children of Israel. They are a gift to you, given by the Lord to do the work of the tabernacle of meeting. Therefore, you and your sons with you shall attend to your priesthood for everything at the altar, and behold the vial, and you shall serve. I'll give your priesthood to you as a gift for service, but the outsider who comes near shall be put to death. Offering for support to the priest. And the Lord spoke to Aaron, Here I myself have also given to you charge of my heave offering, and all the holy gifts of the children of Israel I have given them as a portion to you and all your sons as an ordinance forever. This shall be yours of the most holy thing received from the fire, every offering of theirs, every grain offering, and every sin offering, and every trespass offering which they render to me shall be most holy for you and your sons. In a most holy place you shall eat it. Every male shall eat it. It shall be holy to you. This also is yours, the heave offering of their gift, with all their wave offerings of their children of Israel, and I have given them to you and your sons and daughters with you as an ordinance forever. Every one who is clean in your house may eat it. All the beasts of the oil, all the best of the oil, all the best of the new wine of the grain, their first fruits which they offer to the Lord, I have given them to you. Whatever's first ripe fruit is in their land, which they bring to the Lord, shall be yours. Everyone who is clean in your house may eat it. Every devoted thing in Israel shall be yours. Everything that is first opens the womb of all flesh, which they bring to the Lord, whether man or beast, shall be yours. Nevertheless, the firstborn of men you shall surely redeem, and the first of unclean animals you shall redeem, and those redeemed of the devoted thing you shall redeem. Then 1 month old, according to the validation, for 5 shekels of silver, according to the shekels of the sanctuary, which is 20 gerah, it's gerahs. But the firstborn of a cow, the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat, you shall not redeem. They are holy. You shall sprinkle the blood onto the altar, and burn their fat as an offering made by fire for a sweet aroma to the Lord, and their flesh shall be yours. Just as the wave breast and the right thigh are yours, and all the heave offerings of the holy things which the children of Israel offered to the Lord, I have given to you and your sons and daughters with you as an ordinance forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before the Lord with you and your descendants with you. Then the Lord said to Aaron, You shall have no inheritance in their land, nor shall you have any portion among them. I am your portion and your inheritance among the children of Israel. Tithes of support of the Levites. Behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tithes in Israel as an inheritance, in return for the work which they perform, the work of the tabernacle of meeting. Here offer the children of Israel shall not come near to the tabernacle of meeting, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall perform the work of the tabernacle of meeting, and they shall bear their iniquity. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation, that among the children of Israel shall have no inheritance for the tithes of the children of Israel, which they offer up as a heave offering to the Lord, and I have given to the Levites as an inheritance. Therefore I have said to them, among the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance. The Tibereth of the Levi, the title, Tithe, tithe, the tithe of the Levi. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak thus to the Levites, and saying to them, When you take for the children of Israel and the tithes which I have given to you from them as your inheritance, then you shall offer up a heave offering of it to the Lord, 1/10 of the tithe. And your heave offering shall be reckoned, Rechoned, to you, as though it were the grain of the threshing floor, and as the fulfillment of the winepress. Thus you shall also offer a heave offering to the Lord from all your tithes which you receive from the children of Israel. And you shall give the Lord heave offerings from the Aaron and the priest of your gifts. You shall offer up every heave offering due to the Lord from all the best of them, the consecrate part of them. Therefore you shall say to them, when you have lifted up the best of it, then the rest shall be accounted to the Levites as produce of the threshing floor, as the produce of the winepress. You may eat it any place, you and your household, for it is your reward for your work in the tabernacle of meeting, and you shall bear no sin because of it. Then you have lifted up the best of it, but you shall not profane the holy gift of the children of Israel, lest you die. Chapter 19. Law of purification. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord had commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel that they bring you a red heifer without blemish, in which there is no defect, and on which a yoke had never come. You shall give it to Eleazar the priest, that he may take it outside the camp, and it shall be slaughtered before him. And Eleazar the priest shall take some of its blood with his finger, and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times directly in front of the tabernacle of meeting. Then the heifer shall be burned in his sight. Its hide, its flesh, its blood, and its offal, O-F-F-A-L, shall be burned. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet and cast them into the midst of the fire and burning the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes. He shall bathe in water, and afterward he shall come into the camp. The priest shall be unclean until evening, and the one who burns it shall wash his clothes in water, bathe in water, and shall be cleansed until evening. Then a man who is cleansed shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and store them outside of the camp in a clean place, and they shall be kept from the congregation of the children of Israel for the water of purification. It is for purifying from sin. And the one who gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. It shall be a statute forever to the children of Israel, unto the stranger who dwells among them. He who touches the dead body of anyone shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself within the water of the 3rd day, and on the 7th day then he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he will not be clean. Whoever touches the body of anyone who has died and does not purify himself defiles the tabernacle of the Lord. That person shall be cut off from Israel. He shall be unclean before the water of purification was not sprinkled onto him. His uncleanness is still on him. This is the law when a man dies in a tent. All who comes into the tent and all who are in the tent shall be unclean 7 days, and every open vessel. This is the law of the man who dies in the tent. All who have come into the tent and all who are into the tent shall be unclean 7 days, and every open vessel which has not covered fastened on it, it's unclean. Whoever in the open field touches one who is slain by a sword, or who has died, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And for an unclean person who shall take some of the ashes of the heifer burned for purification from sin, and running water shall be put on them in the vessel. A clean person shall take hyssop and dip it into the water, sprinkle it onto the tent, onto the vessel of the person who were there, or onto the one who touched the bone, the slain of the dead, or the grave. The clean person shall sprinkle the unclean onto the 3rd day, and onto the 7th day, and onto the 7th day he shall purify himself, wash his clothes, and bathe in water, and at the 7th and at the evening he shall be clean. But the man who is unclean and does not purify himself, that person shall be cut off from among the assembly, because he has defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of purification has not been sprinkled onto him. he is unclean. It shall be a perpetual statute for them. He who has sprinkled the water of purification shall wash his clothes, and he shall touch the water of the purification shall be unclean until evening. Whatever the unclean person touches shall be unclean, and the person who touches it shall be unclean until evening. Chapter 20. Moses erred at Karath, or Kadesh, Kadesh. Then the children of Israel, the whole congregation, came into the wilderness of Zion in the first month, and the people stayed in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. Now there was no water from the congregation, so they gathered together against Moses and Aaron, and to the people contended with Moses and spoke, saying, If only we had died when our brethren died before the Lord. Why have you brought us up the assembly of the Lord into the wilderness, that we and our animals should die there? And why have you made us come out of Egypt to bring us this evil place? It is not a place of grain or figs or vines or of pomegranates, nor is it there any water to drink. So Moses seized Aaron and went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tabernacle of meeting, and they fell on their faces and glorified the Lord. Appeared from them. Just one moment. Is this some music? And the glory of the Lord appeared before them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Take the rod, and you, your brother Aaron, take the congregation together and speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield water. Thus you shall bring water from them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their animals. So Moses took the rod from before the Lord, as he had commanded him, and Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, Hear now, you rebels, must we bring water for you out of this rock? Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice. I want to read that again. It's 20:10. And Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, Hear now, you rebels, must we bring water for you out of this rock? Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with the rod, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their animals drank. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, Because you did not believe in me to hallow me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given to them. This was the water of Meribah, Meribah, because the children of Israel contended with the Lord, and he was hallowed among them. Passing through the Edom refuge. Now the Lord sent messengers from Kadesh to the king of Edom, thus saying, your brother Israel for know all these hardships that had befallen us. Now our father went down to Egypt, and we had dwelt into Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians afflicted us and our fathers when we were crying out to the Lord. He heard our voice and sent the angel and brought us up out of the Egypt. Now there we are in Kadesh, Kadesh, a city of edge of our border. Edge is EDGE. Edge of our border. Please let us pass through our country. Please let us pass through our country. We will not pass through fields of vineyards, nor will we drink water from the wells. We will go along the king's highway. We will not turn aside to the right hand or to the left until we have passed through your territory. The Edom said to him, You shall not pass through my land, lest I come out against you and with the sword. So the children of Israel said to him, We will go by the highway, and if I or my livestock drink any of your water, then I will pay for it. Let me only pass through on foot, nothing more. Then he had said, You shall not pass through. So Edom came out against them with many men and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his territory. So Israel returned away from him. The death of Aaron. Now the children of Israel, the whole congregation, journeyed from Kadesh and came to the mountain of Hor, Hor. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in a mountain of Hor, Hor, by the border of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered to his people, for he shall not enter the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because you rebelled against me, my word, at the water of Meribah, Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar, the son, and bring them up to the mountain of Hor, Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments and put them on Eleazar, his son, and Aaron shall be gathered to his people and die there. So Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up to the mountain Hor in the sight of all the congregation. Moses stripped Aaron of his garments and put them into Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there on the top of the mountain. Then Moses and Eleazar came down from the mountain. Now then, all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead. All the house of Israel mourned for Aaron 30 days. Chapter 21. Canaanites defiled the Hormah, the king of Arad, the Canaanite, who dwelt into the south, heard that Israel was commanding on to the road of the Athaim. Then he fought against Israel and took some of them prisoner. So Israel made a vow on the Lord and said, If you will indeed deliver the people into the hand, then I will utterly destroy their cities. And the Lord listened to the voice of Israel and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities, so that the name of this place was called Hormah, is Hormah. The bronze serpent. Then they journeyed from the mountain of Hor by the way of the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom and to the soul of the people became very discouraged onto the way. And the people spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die into the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and our soul loathes with worthless bread. So the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Israel died. Therefore the people came to Moses and said, We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents for us. So Moses prayed for his people. Then the Lord said to Moses, Take a fiery serpent and set it onto the pole, and it shall be that everyone who is bitten, then he looks at it, shall live. So Moses made a bronze serpent and put it onto a pole, and so it was, if a serpent had bitten anyone, when he looked at the bronze serpent, he had lived. From Mount Hor to Moab, now the children of Israel moved onto the camped in Obath, and they journeyed from Obath and camped at Leji. It's Lje Abarim, Abarim, into the wilderness which is east of Moab, towards the sunrise. From there they moved and camped into the valley of Zerded. From there they moved and camped onto the other side of the Aran, which is in the wilderness of Extendeds, Extends, from the borders of the Amorites, from the Amorians, into the borders of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore it is said in the brooks of the war of the Lord, Woheb in Suphah, Suphah, the brooks of Aaron, and the slopes of the brooks that reaches onto the dwelling of Aaron, and lies onto the border of Moab. For there they went to Beer, which is the well where the Lord said to Moses, Gather the people together, and I will give them water. Then Israel sang this song, Spring up, O well, all of you sing to it. The well the leaders sank, dug by the nations of nobles, by the lawgivers, with their staves, Staves, with their staves. And from the wilderness they went into the Mattiana, Mattanah, from Mattiana into the Natal, Nahaliel, from Natal to the Bamoth, Bamoth, and from Bamoth into the valley that is in the country of Moab, Moab, into the top of Pisgah, Pisgah, which looks down into the wasteland. The king of Kara, the king of Shan defeated, it's Shon. Then Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, king, it's Shihon, king of the Amorites, saying, Let me pass through your land. We will not turn aside into the field of the vineyards. We will not drink the water from the well. We will go by the king's highway until
we have passed through your territory. But Sihon, Shon, would not allow Israel to pass through his territory. So Sihon, Shon, gathered all of the people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness. And he had come into Jazra, Jahaz, and fought against Israel. Then Israel defeated him with the edge of his sword, and took possessions of his land from the Aran to the Jabbok, Jabbok, as far as the people of Ammon, Ammon. The borders of the people of Ammon was fortified. So Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt into the land of the cities of Amorites in Heshbon, and in all the villages of Heshbon was the city of Simeon, kings of Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and had taken all of his land and his hand as far as the Amorians. Therefore those who speak in Proverbs, saying, "Come to Heshbon, let it be built, let the cities of Sharon be reparted." For fire went out from Heshbon, and flame from the cities of Shihon, Shihon. It consumed Er and Moab, the Lord of the heights of the Amorian. Woe to you, Moab! You have perished, O people of Chesmon, Shemosi. He has given his son as feudals, and his daughters into captivity of Sihon, the king of the Amorites. But we have shot at them. Heshbon has perished as far as Dibon, Dibon. Then we laid waste as far as Nophia and Oph, which reaches the Midian, Medeba. Thus Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites. Then Moses sent to spy out the Zarian, Jazer, and they took its villages and drove out the Amorites who were in them. The king Og defeated, and they had turned and went up by the way of Bashan. So Og, king of Bashan, went out against them, he and all of his people, to battle the Edrei. Then the Lord said to Moses, Do not fear him, for I have delivered him into the hand with all of his people and his land, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, the king of Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon. So they defeated him, his sons, and all of his people, until there was no survivor left him, and they took possession of the land. Chapter 22. Then the children of Israel moved and camped into the plains of Moab, and said of the Jordan, a crossing from Jericho. Now Bank, the son of Ziphar, saw all that Israel had done to all the Amorites, and Moab was exceedingly afraid of all of the people, because they were mainly and because they were mainly, and Moab was sick with dread because of the children of Israel. Moab said to the elders of Midian, "Who has now this company will lick up everything around us as an ox licks up the grass of the field." And Balak, the son of Ziphar, was king of the Monorites at that time. Then he had sent messengers to Balaam, the son of Berhor, at Pethon, which is near to the river of the land of the son of his people, to call him, saying, "Look, a people has come from Egypt, seeing they cover the faces of the earth and are settling next to me. Therefore, please come at once, curse these people for me, for they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I shall be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed." So the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the diviner fee in their hand, and they came to Balaam and spoke to him with words of Balak, and he said to them, "Lodge here tonight, and I will bring back word to you as the Lord breaks to me." So the prince of Moab strives with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and said, "Who are these men with you?" So Balaam said to God, "Balak, the son of Ziphar, king of the Moab, has sent to me, saying, 'Look, a people has come out of Egypt, and they were covered the faces of the earth. Come now, curse them for me. Perhaps I shall be able to overpower them and drive them out.'" And God said to Balaam, "You shall not go with them. You shall not cause the people, for they are blessed." So Balaam rose into the morning and said to the prince of Balak, "Go back to your land, for the Lord has refused to give me permission to go with you." And the prince of Moab rose and went to Balak and said, "Balaam refuses to come with us." Then Balak again sent princes more numerous and more honorable than they, and they have come to Balaam and said to him, "Thus says Balak, the son of Ziphar, please let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will certainly honor you greatly, and I will do whatever you say to me. Therefore, please come, curse these people for me." Then Balaam answered and said to the servant of Balak, "Though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the word of the Lord by my God to do less or more. Now therefore, please, you also stay here tonight, that I may know that more the Lord will say to me." And God came to Balaam at night and said to him, "If the men come to call you, rise and go with them, but only to the word which I have spoken to you, that you shall do." So Balaam rose and went in the morning, saddled the donkeys, and went with the prince of Moab, Balaam the donkey, and Balaam the donkey and the angel. Then God's anger was aroused because he had went, and the angel of the Lord took his stand into the way as an adversary against him, and he was riding on his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. Now the donkey saw that the angel of the Lord standing into the way with his drawn sword onto his hand, and the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Balaam struck the donkey to turn her back into the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood at the narrow path between the vineyard, with a wall on this side and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw that the angel of the Lord she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her again. Then the angel of the Lord went further and stood into the narrow place where there was no way to turn, either to the right or to the right hand or to the left. And then the donkey saw that the angel of the Lord, she lay down until Balaam. So Balaam's anger was aroused, and he struck the donkey with his staff. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you have struck me these 3 times?" And Balaam said to the donkey, "Because you have abused me, I wish there were a sword in my hand, for now I would kill you." Then the donkey said to Balaam, "I am not your donkey on which you have ridden. Never since I have become yours to this day would I have ever despised to do this to you." And he had said no. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand, and he bowed his head and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said to him, "Why have you struck your donkey 3 times? These 3 times? Behold, I have come out of the stand against you, because your way is perverse before me." The donkey saw me and turned aside and from me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, surely I would have also killed you by now and let her live. And Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned, for I have not known you stood in the way against me. Now therefore it is displeased to you. I will turn back." Then the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, "Go with the men, but only the word I speak to you, that you shall speak." So Balaam went with the princes of Balak. Now then Balak heard that Balaam was coming. He had went out to meet him at the city of Moab, which is on the border at the Aaron, the boundary of the territory of Balak, Balak. Then Balak said to Balaam, "Did I not earnestly send to you, calling for you? Why did you come to me? Am I not able to honor you?" And Balaam said to Balak, "Look, I have come to you. Now I in power at all to say anything to the words that God puts in my mouth, but I must speak." So Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kirjath Kasath. It's Kirjath, and Kadas is Huzoth. Then Balak offered ox and sheep, and he sent some of Balaam and to the princes who were with him. So it's Balaam's first prophecy. So it was the next day that Balaam took Balaam and brought him up to the high place of Baal, that from there he might observe the extent of the people. Chapter 23, I'm going to stop there and we'll go back to Balaam's first prophecy.